So my name is Marisca. I'm a mother to a 10-month-old baby girl called April. And I run a fabric business. My page is Marisca Fabrics, and I also double up working for my husband at Rags of Glory. I got pregnant, if I can recall exactly, in July of 2019. I found out I was pregnant, so I know my body very well. And then I had missed my period for just a day. So I took the pregnancy test. I mean, my mom would have said I should wait a week or two, but I just wanted to be sure. So I was at the shop when I took my test, I remember. I went to the bathroom and then I did what we have to do. And then I just put the test away, because normally once you're done, the first red line draws. And then I just put the test away. So I turn and then I see the second one only comes very faint. So I saw it and I was excited because I was going to be a mother. So I waited to tell my husband later in the day. I didn't want to tell him over the phone. So he came home, and I remember we were at my mom's place, or my dad's place now. And I told him. He was so excited because he always wanted to be a dad, and he wanted a boy. So yes, that's how I found out I was pregnant. Then I called my gynecologist, Dr. Kosa, I love him. And I told him, Doc, I just did a test and I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh, congratulations. Come in 2 weeks and then we can take a scan to see. So I went to the hospital 2 weeks after, and then we confirmed that I was indeed pregnant. My pregnancy was smooth, I can say. I didn't have any food cravings. My husband was very lucky with that one. I didn't call him to tell him to buy me any ice cream or anything, go far to go and buy anything. No, I had no cravings. I think the only experience I had was the sour taste in the mouth, and that was even about when I was 5 months pregnant. So when I was almost 6 months pregnant, my mom had been sick for years, where we would, go to the hospital, but it was taking a while for her to get better. I was home when I got a phone call. My nephew had been calling me with my mom's phone around 5:30, if I recall correctly. And then he sent me a message on WhatsApp saying, hurry up and come home, mom is not well, we are trying to take her to the hospital. So I remember waking my husband up, telling him that he needs to drive me to Yabwa Hospital. So we got up, changed our clothes, and then we went to the hospital. We got there. I was sitting in the waiting room because they said the doctor was attending to her. And the next thing I know, they've called the family upstairs, which I didn't think of anything of. We went, and then the doctor asked me to have a seat. And I'm thinking, why should I sit down? Is this because I'm pregnant? And I'm like, no. And I still didn't think anything of it. And they just said she didn't make it. In fact, my whole world came crashing down because my mom was my everything. So I remember running down the stairs, running down the stairs and going to the car where my husband was seated. He saw me coming. So immediately he got down from the car, and the next thing I remember, I was on the floor and I was screaming. He held onto my tummy and he kept praying for me. I need a minute. Should I get? Okay. No, it's fine. He kept praying because he knew what this could potentially do to a pregnancy. So my family members came, and they would tell you, meaning I can't cry on my pregnancy. And if I cry, the baby could, pass. So many things could happen to the pregnancy. So I had to hold on to my tears throughout the whole period. Trust me, I didn't cry. My church, Prophet Gideon, Pastor Haida, they would call every day to pray for me, and our prayer boys, the prayer team, they would let me come in every Thursday, and I would sit. No emotion. They would pray and pray and pray and pray. In some way it helped, because I didn't know how I was going to go through this process of being pregnant. My mom is not going to be there. She's not going to be there to see her granddaughter. And mind you, when she was pregnant with me, she lost her mother as well. So we had the funeral and we buried her. One of my brothers had come, my older brother had come from America for the funeral. So after the funeral, he went back. And this was right before, I think he went a few days before lockdown was done last year. He went back, and then we tried to cope with not having our mom by our side anymore. So I was almost due. I think I was around April. Yes, I was due in April 26th. And around late of March into April, my sister-in-law calls me saying my brother has been, they did mention they weren't well. She had a cold and we didn't know anything of COVID then. So she's like, your brother can't breathe and they've rushed him. The ambulance has come to pick him up. So I'm like, God, why? One pregnancy. I lost my mom and now my brother is in the hospital. The devil is really trying me over here. So we started praying for him, he'll get well soon, because people were recovering. And then a week before I delivered, in fact, I didn't even get a call. I saw it on Facebook that a friend of theirs had passed from COVID. So I was like, because nobody wants to tell me anything. And I'd been calling my sister-in-law and she wasn't picking. But she called my husband. So I knew something was off. And I'd seen some family members post, 2020 hasn't been a good year for us. So I called my other brother here. And he says, it's true. Past has passed. I'm serious, I didn't know how to feel. And I had everyone started getting worried about me because she's the one who is pregnant, heavily pregnant, I must say. And everyone keeps calling. And my fear had gone, and my fear and anxiety had gone up, because when I was 16, my sister had passed from delivering. My sister had passed from doing a caesarean section, and she died because the hospital claims they ran out of oxygen. So having to be pregnant and delivering had always been a scar to me, because my sister had passed, going to deliver. And delivery then I didn't know was any issue, from caesarean to be exact. So now I had to deal with everyone calling, oh, hello, Marisca, how are you doing? I'm praying for you. They call, oh, hello. Sometimes they can't even speak because they don't know what to tell you to encourage or motivate you. And I was just blank. And I asked God again, why? Because I can't deal with all of this. And still, you can't still cry on this pregnancy. And I'm due. So, we still kept praying, keeping everything together. And like I said, I was due on the 26th. 26th has come. Madam says she won't arrive. So my doctor says, you guys need to, do everything. I had a neighbor friend, Fiba, and she would say, you guys have to try everything. Drink pineapple juice, have sex, do it all. And I'm like, madam, I can't even walk. I should have sex. I should have sex and drink pineapple. So, I started drinking pineapple juice. I remember the day we scheduled to have sex. My God, was it painful? It is the most painful thing, but it works. It actually gets you to start contracting so badly. I remember I was contracting so badly, I thought the baby was coming. I called my hospital and I took a number of one of the nurses, and then I was like, I think the baby's coming. And she's like, Madam, the baby's coming, you can't even speak. I'm like, I'm in pain. She's like, is the stomach hard? I'm like, my stomach is always hard. How? So I'm supposed to time these contractions. And then I time and then they are off. But the thing feels like the baby is coming. So my brother's like, go to the hospital. Just go to, do you want to go and sleep at the hospital till this baby comes? And I'm like, no, I don't want to go and lie in the hospital if the baby is not here. So I immediately call my gynae, and he says, Marisca, if the pain is unbearable, you can take like a painkiller, because per your contractions, it doesn't look like, you know, the baby's coming. And I take Panadol, I remember. So I think the following day, I go and visit my brother, and then I feel like the pain again. So we rush to a hospital nearby where he lives for them to check for dilation. My God, it is insane. This woman does the thing over there. She's like, Madam, don't move, sit down still. I'm like, I can't sit down still. The thing is painful. And she does it and tells me, you haven't dilated even one. You haven't even dilated one. I'm like, what? I'm in pain. She's like, well, if you haven't dilated, there's nothing that we can do about it. So I had a hospital appointment on Thursday, and then I saw my doctor, actually on Wednesday. And then I saw my doctor, and then he said, look, now you're almost 42 weeks. And I mean, you could still wait, but ideally, we have to induce you or you do cesarean section. And for me, cesarean section was out of the possibility. I wasn't going to do a CS because of my knowing that my sister had passed from cesarean. So I said, no, cesarean, then no. Then you can induce me. My sister was like, Marisca, inducing is very painful. I'm like, I'd rather do inducing than go and do CS. And she's like, well. So I stopped calling her because she kept saying inducing. I should wait it out. And I didn't want to wait it out because I was tired. And after 39 weeks, they must come. And I'm almost heading to 42. So my doctor schedules me to come in on Thursday, and then they can induce me early Friday morning. So I get to the hospital, they do a CST, but my doctor wasn't around to read the report because he had another engagement in another hospital he had to rush to. So we come in the morning, around 3 a.m. I'm induced. And the pain starts slowly, and it starts. I'm like, hey, this thing is painful. This thing is painful. And my husband wasn't there because at the time COVID had come up, so they wouldn't allow spouses sleeping in the same room with their other halves. So we would FaceTime, and I'll tell him that, look, I'm in a lot of pain. This inducing, they weren't lying. And he's like, oh, you can do it. We are praying for you. And then my doctor comes in around 10 in the morning. So they induce you for, I think, 6 hours. And if it doesn't work, they do the second one. And if that doesn't work, then you do CS. I'm like, I don't do CS. So this first one has to work. And my doctor comes in, and then he reads the scans. And then he sees that my contractions had stopped totally. So he's like, then the reading is off. They need to do another CST. So they do it again, and they realize that my baby's heart rate is dropping. So he's like, Marisca, this one, dear, CS, I'm like, what? You guys are going to do CS? I don't want to do CS. He's like, I know. And my doctor was under a lot of pressure, I must say, because he was there when my mom passed, my brother passed, and he's a family friend. So everyone kept calling him the doc. Marisca, the story behind Marisca's thing. Don't mess up. So in fact, I'm even surprised he didn't drop me as a client, because he kept getting calls. He kept getting calls. You don't mess up with Marisca, or, she's a shining star, all of that. He's like, we have to do the CS. And I was shook because I had prayed to God that I don't want to do CS. But deep in my heart, I knew CS was a possibility for some reason. And my husband was like, Marisca, it's fine. Everything is going to be fine. You're going to be good. My brother was there as well. And, he prayed for me. I called my pastors. They told me that, the child that you have is a great woman. She's going to be great because for everything that you've been through, God don't leave you hanging here. I mean, you've lost your mom. People lose their babies from grief. And you've gone through two things. And you're still here. Nothing can hinder you now. So everything is going to be fine. So I prayed and then I told God that, you know your plans for me. You won't bring me here and just, toss me on the side. So I'll let your will be done. And they put all the scrubs and everything. Just booked my anesthetic came in. She told me, well, we're going to give you 2 injections, one on the back, 2 injections, both on the back, but different areas. One is going to come as a shock. The other one is going to be very cold. So are you ready? I'm like, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. So they take me to the operating room. And mind you, I always thought CS was like maybe 2 people. I get there and they're like almost 8 to 10 people in the operating room. And I'm like, hey, this is a serious something. So immediately I see them, they check my pressure. My pressure is over the roof. She's like, Marisca, calm down. Nothing is going to happen to you. You're going to be fine. So I just lie down. They check my pressure again, it's dropped. She gives me the injections on my back. And then she's like, do you feel this? And then I say, what? She's like, oh, I'm holding onto your thigh. I'm like, oh, I didn't feel anything. She's like, well, then the drug has worked. So we're going to insert the catheter and then, so they do that. And then they try to distract me. So I'm talking to one of the anesthetics over there on the left side. She's like, oh, Marisca, they're almost done. They're going to take the baby out in less than 5 minutes. So the next thing I see, they pulled this girl out of they just pull her out and then they bring her on my side. And then I look at her and I'm like, you didn't try, crowd. The way you look like your father, to carry you for 9 months, like from birth, she looked exactly like him. So they bring her to me and they ask, is this a girl? So I said yes. And then they take her, they hit her bum and she starts to cry. And then they take her from the surgery room. They're like, okay, so we are done now. So we're going to stitch you up. And then they do that. I think my process took about between 20 to 25 minutes. And it was quick. And then right after they were done, I thanked all the doctors in the room. And then I prayed and I thanked God for a safe delivery because this was something I was really afraid of. And a lot of women don't even want to do cesarean. I know a lot of women to also opt for that, but a lot of women do not want to do cesarean because they know people, cesarean benefits the child more than the mother. So it was a testimony for me because God needed me to overcome this fear of cesarean session. Today they asked me that if I get pregnant, will I go and do push? No way. It's like it was so quick for me. And I left the recovery room. On my way to my room, I see there was this lady they were pushing in a wheelchair and she was going to deliver, but she was going to do the natural. She was in so much pain. And, she's like, I'm like, madam, just do CS and be free. So, yes, that was my pregnancy journey and my delivery. So I'm discharged and I get home and all I can do, I remember that night, was cry so badly because all the emotions had come in. Because if they say, I can't cry. So I cried so much. And I remember one of my aunts called me and she was like, Abna, pack your things and go to your other auntie's house, auntie, okay? Because I can tell that you're depressed. And I went through at least 3 months of it. My husband was so worried because he didn't know what to do to help me with it. And it's something that a lot of people do not talk about a lot. For the older people, oh, wait, they're in depression. when you're depression, be a bomb pie a bit trash. So I'm at my auntie's place. We pray every night. My pastors pray with me. It helps, but it helped to talk to other mothers who had been in my position. I had, and because nobody talks about it, you don't know who to talk to. So I called a friend of mine who's in London, and she said, Marisca, I've also suffered this thing for almost a year. It's not easy, but I'm here anytime you need me. We can talk through it. I had friends who had delivered right after I had, who were also experiencing it. So we would speak, we would talk, and it would help both of us heal from it. For me, I didn't feel like I was going to commit suicide, but I was just not happy. As much as I loved my daughter, there was some sort of emptiness that was there. The loss of my mom and my brother could play a part in it, because my mom is not here to, hold my baby, help in any way. And I would have loved for her to be here to experience all the things I'm experiencing with my daughter. So I would talk to a doctor friend who would also help. I can talk for hours, and the days got better. They really got better. So we have a group where when there's a problem or there's a challenge, we call each other, we talk, we help, we pray with each other, and we advise each other. For me, a lot of my friends say, Marisca, you lost your mom, you lost your brother, and you speak about it like they've been gone for the past 10 years. And I say, it's God. Because the day my mom died, that night, when I got to my bedroom, all I said was, God, please take this grief away from me, because I don't know how I'm going to handle it. And that prayer worked. And trust me, prayer works. I sailed through my pregnancy. I was strong. I became so strong. I got some kind of strength where I didn't even know where it came from. And that has carried me through till today. And for my depression, talking about it helped me. I didn't keep it inside me. I tell my husband about it. I tell my friends about it. And every advice helps. Sometimes taking a break to travel, to do the things I like. Because when you become a mother, trust me, you have no help, in the COVID times, people weren't coming over, so you have no help. So it's basically you, your child, and your husband all the time. You don't get to do the things you love anymore. You don't get to sleep. You don't get to do anything. Yes, you are sleep deprived. You wake up, you are breastfeeding. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do all these things. You just get worn out and tired. And sometimes you are dizzy if you don't eat well. So you need a support system to help with all these things. You need to take a break sometimes. Sometimes my husband takes her. I can, sleep for a few hours. I can do the things I like, small. And then that also helped me. So I think any woman who is experiencing depression needs to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, it goes downhill from there. The first step is to admit that you know that there's something wrong with you. Either you talk to someone about it, you can talk to your doctor about it, or some friends, because you'll be amazed at the number of women who are experiencing these things. I recently spoke to a friend from church, and then I was telling her this is what she sent me a message, and I hadn't responded in I think a few days. So I told her, look, I'm going through all these things, and she's a new mom too. I think her son is about 7 months or 8. And she's like, Marisca, I'm also experiencing this thing too. So I'm like, wow, I thought it was just me. She's like, no. So we have each other. And once you have someone who can listen and understand what you're going through, it really helps. And prayer also helps. That you'll be tired all the time. I wish our moms prepared us for this job. And I say it's a job because our parents, or my mom like this, they work till we were older. And they used to call them housewife. Trust me. I work with the corporate, and I also own my own business. And having to do this for the past 10 months alone is crazy. They don't know, nobody preps you for the pain you go through. My back hurts, my arms hurt. You are never the same again after you become a mom. As much as you're hating it, you are loving it. You look at her and you are smiling because she brings you some sort of joy that you could never get from anywhere else. But at the same time, you're crying. Nobody prepares you for that. And I think if I had known, now that I know, that's why I'm saying that it's only 2 children and no more than 2 for me. Sometimes I'm surprised that I'm a mom. I lie on when she sleeps and I lie on the bed with my husband and I'm like, can you believe we are parents. We've played around and become parents. It has changed our lives for the better. It's made us grow. But like I said, we always need to, one thing I'm surprised at is, I remember when we were going through counseling before we got married, my counselor would always say that, Marisca, you guys need to enjoy the marriage before kids come in. Because when kids come in, things will change. You guys can't be doing things like you were, be young. And it takes a toll on you guys, which is true because the kid is there 24/7. You put her down and you try to creep out to go and do 1, 2, 1, 2 or something like that. Then she's awake. So you really can't do anything. And that surprised me because I didn't think anything would change the way my marriage was, was going to be. Right now, it's just, she's all we think about. She's basically all we think about. So once, and people keep coming, oh, when is baby number 2 coming? I'm like, no, I would have loved to, do 1, 2, and then I'm done, and then there's 2 of them, and then I'm free. But I think we need a bit of an age gap for the first 2, so you can focus on yourself. Because if you don't, you're definitely not going to be happy. Yeah, so that surprised me. I didn't know that it could change so many things in our relationship. Yes, it's brought us together, but things are not the same as it used to be when we didn't have her. So that's a surprise for sure. Raise her right. So for us and my family, or not my married family, when I was young, God was at the center of everything. And even now, God is the center of everything. So my child is definitely going to be raised as a Christian because we are Christians. And she needs to know what is right and what is wrong. My daughter can't be doing as she pleases. Some of the kids are, but I can't. She definitely needs to know what is right and wrong. So she's going to be raised with discipline as well. Yes, she has to be polite. She has to be kind. She has to be loving. Just like how we all are. And I'm sure because of how we are, she's going to learn that. And children learn these things. They learn what they see. So if you're not going to show them what they should see, which is the good things, they're going to go wayward, and nobody wants that. So for April, she improves food choices. So sometimes we need to force her to eat, but she loves potatoes. So anything potato related, whether it be roasted potatoes, baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, fried potatoes, she loves that. And she loves chicken a lot. So chicken is always in the menu for her. She loves yogurt as well. And rice water. Recently, she's picked on rice water. She occasionally eats the banku. I love banku, so I try to push it down her throat, but she will take like 6, 7 small blows and she's done. And Cerelac, she's not too picky. Well, she's very picky, not too picky. She's very picky. She's just like her dad. So you give her the food, if she tastes it, she doesn't like it, she spits it out. But for me, when I feed April, she doesn't eat. She won't take food from me because they say I have the breast, she knows the breast milk is with me. So she doesn't take food from me. But when she's with her dad, he will feed her and she will take everything. Everything. For me, I have to go the extra mile if she's going to take it from me. I have to sing, I have to dance, I have to play music. She loves music and she loves dancing. She has like, some one-arm dance that she does. So when we play the song for her, she'll do that and then I can sneak a few spoons in. But her dad doesn't need to do any of that. He doesn't need to sing, he doesn't need to dance. Once she sees him, she's opened her mouth already because she doesn't want stress with him. So, so yes, that's good. So like this, in the mornings, she wakes up, I give her milk. She wakes up really early, around 6:30. So I give her milk in the morning, and then between 8 to 8:30, she takes like maybe a cereal like rice water or beech nut rice. We give her that. Then around 11, she takes like a yogurt or a snack. And then around 1, we give her her lunch. And then by 5:36, we give her dinner. And then that's her eating schedule. Well, yes, more kids for sure, but just one. Maybe two. Maybe two. My husband wants 3 kids, and his excuse is, when they're fighting, there needs to be one person who's going to break the fight. That's the reason for the 3rd child. But yeah, 2 or 3 isn't bad. Yeah, I see kids in the future. So challenging, because we had her during COVID. We are still in COVID. It limited the number of people who could come over the house to help. So having no help is hard because you literally have to do everything on your own. That's 1. 2, the breastfeeding is all she likes. She can breastfeed from morning to evening. There was a point whereby when she sleeps at night and I pick her up to give her breast milk, she doesn't want to stop sucking. She wants to wake up and the breast is in her mouth and she's still sucking it all the way. And that has also been challenging because I'm trying to wean her off a bit. But yeah, that's also been a challenge too. Seeing her for the first time, wow. I've always seen that in movies. People say you see your daughter or your son for the first time and it's like love at first sight, and they're not lying. It's an amazing feeling being a mom. Even when my day is bad, just looking at her and seeing her smiling, laughing, turns my day around. It reminds me of how it was for me and my mother, and it puts a smile on my face because there are some things that it's weird. There are some things I used to do with my mom when I was young, not too young, but I would blow bubbles on my mom's tummy. Even when I was about 20 to 25 years, I would do that and it would keep her laughing. And then she was like 8 months, baby, 9 months, would do the same with me. So it was like, what's going on here? And it reminded me so much of, my mom. And there are things that she does, the way she smiles sometimes. God is amazing. God is amazing. And it makes me know that she's still here with me. I believe that. Sometimes I always say that, I know this is my mom sitting right here, because my mom always used to say that that's the same with me and my grandmother. So I believe that. And so it's been good. It makes me a hero when I'm able to wake up, do all these things, at night put her to bed, wake up again, do the same thing all over and over. Women are, heroes. Not all heroes wear capes, it's true. I give props to mothers, those who do 1, 2, 3, those who adopt, those who have 4, 5. I'm like, how do you guys do 3 and 4 and 5 and 10? But it's amazing. To my friend, to anyone who's watching, who is trying, it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. It's those who have lost. I've had friends who have lost kids, who have, delivered and then babies pass. And it's been hard, talking to them, consoling them, because it's not easy. Having to get pregnant, it's in itself is not easy. Being pregnant and being able to carry the baby all the way to term isn't easy. And actually doing and delivering the baby isn't also easy. And then the rest isn't easy. So I give props to mothers and to anyone else who's trying. It's not far away. God is going to make it happen. People see me and they say that I'm strong because of the things I've been through. And God doesn't give things to people when they know, or burdens to people who can't carry it. And I must say, I carry mine well, because you can't see me today and tell me, you can't see me and say that I know you've been through all these. Oh, you've been through all these things? No. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you for watching my story. Don't forget to subscribe to the DromoBaby YouTube channel for more amazing stories like this. So thank you for watching my story, and don't forget to subscribe to the DromoBaby YouTube channel for more amazing stories like this.